gentlemen, Flight 1964 to Liverpool is prepared for departure. Paging all remaining passengers. Please make your way to gate 18 for immediate departure.
We're among the first guests to stay overnight in this iconic Saarinen landmark, TWA Flight Center at the TWA Hotel. Checking in on the second night, it was open. Back in the 1960s, there was nothing more elegant and more exciting than traveling by jet. In 1962, the Eero Saarinen designed TWA Flight Center opened at Idlewild Airport in Queens, New York, just outside of Manhattan, which is now known as JFK Airport. The 1960s were in full swing, and the era of traveling by jet had become quite in vogue. Travel was an experience, and airlines like TWA and Pan Am built terminals that reflected this modern age of excitement. By the time the TWA Flight Center had opened, it was functionally obsolete. Saarinen's design reflected an era of flight when aircraft held 50 passengers, and the jet age technology that had ensued had doubled that capacity. As the years progressed and security screenings left a line of passengers out the door, the size of the Eero Saarinen terminal was too small, eventually closing in 2001 when TWA flew its last flight out of JFK. Trans-World Airlines flew Lockheed Constellations into Idlewild while the passenger plane was still in service. Now Connie, as she's called, resides on the tarmac just outside of the TWA Hotel, in the same spot where she would have been parked in 1962. The 116-foot-long plane with a 150-foot wingspan was so special to TWA that in 1955, the airline erected an 8-story billboard of the Constellation with a 2/5 scale of Connie with a working propeller in Times Square on Broadway and 43rd Street. The billboard had 20,000 light bulbs using 500,000 watts of electricity. The Lockheed Constellation tail number November 8083 Hotel is now one of the hotel's cocktail lounges. Restored to her original condition, guests can order drinks and snacks inspired by the 1960s and check out the cockpit, which has authentic flippable switches and controls. While Matt and I were there, we met 3 delightful ladies: a retired TWA flight attendant, a World War II pilot, and a retired TWA aircraft mechanic. The 2 hotel towers are connected to the main terminal building by Saarinen's iconic flight tubes that once led passengers to and from the aircraft area, made famous by the film Catch Me If You Can. These are carpeted in TWA's signature chili pepper red wall-to-wall carpet and lead you to the elevator banks for the 2 hotel wings. Once on your floor, you will encounter more signature red carpet in the curved hallways with walnut doors and trim leading to terrazzo-floored guest room entryway. Inspired by the year of 1962, the golden era when JFK and Jackie were in the White House, rock music was emerging and the jet age electrified the world. TWA's hotel guest rooms have a view of the runways and the historic Saarinen TWA Flight Center. Each of the ultra-quiet 512 guest rooms, designed by Stonehill Taylor, a New York City firm, while soaring views from the room's curtain wall is key, noise is eliminated with ultra-quiet 7 panes and 4.5 inches thick windows fabricated by Fabrica, and they are the second thickest in the world after the wall at the U.S. Embassy in London. The glassed sound transition class STC is rated at 50 to ensure the floor-to-ceiling full-length windows cancel all runway as well as arriving and departing road noise. Once in the room, you will immediately notice the glamorous martini bar, custom-built from walnut and glass with mirrors, brushed glass, and crystallized glasses. Saarinen's classic mid-century modern furniture by Knoll is right at home in the hotel. An armless Saarinen executive chair wrapped in tan leather is tucked into the custom walnut and brass and crystallized glass desk. Sliding barn door for the bathroom softened the space. Our room was an accessible room, and that meant the terrazzo tiled bathroom was large enough to maneuver a wheelchair in and roll into the shower. The custom walnut unit includes storage, a mini refrigerator, and an in-room safe. A hotel is only as good as the bed in the room, and the king bed we had was indeed plush and very comfortable. While not a large convention hotel, the TWA Hotel has 50,000 square feet of meeting space and can host up to 1,600 people with 45 pre-function meeting rooms and 5 hospitality centers, which will work easily for corporate conferences, meetings, and trade shows. The Constellation Ballroom, with its 2 massive brass-paneled doors, will make an impression on any guest as they enter the 15,000 square feet with its 21-foot ceilings. Throughout the historic TWA Flight Center building, you will find surprises like the shops and an extensive rotating museum collection of original jet-age David Klein prints, as well as displays of TWA authentic uniforms designed by Valentino, Ralph Lauren, and Stan Herman, as well as the rare paper uniforms from TWA's 1968 Foreign Accents campaign. On the upper level of the 1962 Saarinen-designed TWA flight terminal, in the location of the original Paris Cafe and Lisbon Lounge, is the 2019 version of the Paris Cafe by Jean Georges, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and cocktails at a medium price point. Furnishings are reminiscent of those that first outfitted the space by famed industrial designer Raymond Loewy. A custom Solari split flap arrivals and departure board with an analog display is manufactured in Udine, Italy, and it clatters away with the fictitious arrivals and departures throughout the day. We wish to thank the Lincoln Motor Company for providing us a 2019 Lincoln Nautilus Black Label Edition for the trip. The new TWA Hotel is located just 12 miles from Manhattan. It is the only on-airport, air-train accessible hotel at JFK. Built as a LEED certified building, it connects directly to the JFK's JetBlue Terminal, Terminal 5 via Saarinen's iconic flight tubes.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Flight 1964 to Liverpool is prepared for departure. Paging all remaining passengers. Please make your way to gate 18 for immediate departure. Make sure you have your ticket